and we just grew apart because we grew up together, and then we grew up apart, and it just wasn't going to work. And I had to go with her to tell her parents we were splitting because I was so close to her parents because they became more of my parents than my parents did. So we had to go sit in the living room and tell them we're just not going to work. And they were devastated, and it devastated me. So I get that, the emotional torment of it, the upheaval of it, to have to go through this. But I didn't have any kids. He's got to worry, are they going to be okay? How are we going to do this? We're not a two-parent household anymore. So again, the trauma, the emotional trauma of that, and then all around him, the season's just unraveling. It becomes a disaster.
He didn't come back for that.
No, he didn't come back.
But Skip, I was saying all along, I said, Skip, I believe the divorce is taking more of a toll on him than what you or others or he even letting on to be. Skip, he has started to get gaunt. He has started to look hollow in the face.
I agreed with you once it was announced that he had finalized the divorce. It was like at mid-season. And he did look gaunt, and I think it was just because of what we're talking about.
It started early, Skip. You know, you've been around the game far too long, and you know how training camps are. They want everybody in training camp. When they excuse a guy for 11 days to deal with something personal, and it's not health-related, that lets you know the seriousness of this nature.
So all of a sudden, he's looking around him, and the offensive line that I thought, especially in the Super Bowl year, I thought it might be the best offensive line.
It had gotten really good.
It had gotten really good really quickly, and all of a sudden, it was a disaster because you lost the middle three guys because you lost your center in training camp, and he tried to come back at the end of the year, but he couldn't. And you lost Kappa as a premium free agent to Cincinnati, and then Marpet retired, and all of a sudden, Donovan Smith just had a bad year.
He had an awful year.
Had an awful year, and he got hurt, and then Tristan Wirfs got hurt and was about half a man at the end of the year. And if you can't protect a 45-year-old and you fall to 24th in pass block win rate, trust me, it's going to look terrible, especially if you can't run the ball. So what did I tell you? That the front office is looking at the second level numbers, and they're saying, wait a second, on play action passes, Tom Brady is leading the NFL in QBR and play action, but we are dead last in trying play action. We only do it 15% of the time, and we're saying, yeah, because you can't run the ball. Nobody respects it.
You ain't fooling no one.
They're laughing at you if you try to play action fake, you know? Like, okay, so that didn't work. And then they're looking at the numbers. In the fourth quarter, he led the league in passing yards and touchdown passes. Why? Because they kept falling behind. And then they would go no huddle, and they would play faster in the fourth quarter. I'd say, well, maybe you should try playing faster in the second quarter or the third quarter. And they didn't. And so there's philosophical clashing going on. And then here's the big final point. And this may have been the turning point of the year. I believe, and I don't know this for a fact, but I'm pretty sure, and you concurred, Tom Brady wanted Bruce Arians out of his hair. Because there was the report that Bruce would come in on Fridays and take what he and Byron had concocted, whatever their game plan was, and they'd gone over it for night after night, and Bruce would take his red pencil and say, no, this, and this. What? And he wanted him out this year, kicked upstairs. Well, I know management believes that was a huge mistake on Tom Brady's part because they think the offense missed whatever flair he had, or what he'd been doing it a long time, and you know all the great quarterbacks he had coached, and that it missed his overseeing, his input. And if that's all true, then that was a huge error on Tom's part, where they actually they were drifting without him.
That's always the case. When you're growing up, you don't realize your parents get on your nerves. I wish I would be glad when I get grown and don't have to listen to this. And then once you get grown, you realize, like, damn, they knew exactly what they were talking about. Like, who knew they had been my age, but I had never been their age? And so what Tom didn't realize is that the impact or the influence of what Bruce Arians actually provided, because he just got tired of, oh, you're not in the meetings with me, Byron. You're not doing this. You just coming in because you're the head coach and scratching and scribbling it out. And that's not fair to us.
Okay, but maybe those scratches and scribbles were...
Maybe he knew that was some bull jive.
Maybe,
Skip, but you know this. As we start to age, it takes us longer to do the things that was just routinely. Skip, it takes me longer to get dressed in the morning. I used to roll out of bed and be fully dressed and out the door in 10 minutes. Now it's 15, 20, 25 minutes to do the same thing when I was much younger. And Tom needs to understand it takes him more talent. Now all of a sudden, Chris Godwin's not a bad receiver. Mike Evans is not a bad receiver.
Heck no.
Mike Evans just has 1,000 yards receiving every year he's been in the NFL. Even that's not enough now. So he needs more and more. Now he needs guys like Devontae. Now he needs guys like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle in top tier at every position in order to do what he used to do, Skip, with guys from Dorchester.
No, I'm with you. Okay, so now we get to the emotional aspect of it. And it's the hardest part to discuss because who knows except one human, and that's that guy. But if, in fact, he was just burned out from the season and from going through the divorce, if, in fact, he was just emotionally exhausted, I have some concern for him going forward because that's not the ideal way to step away. Because you know and I know what happens. Okay, so you retire, and it's your second time, and you say, that's it, and we all conclude, that better be it. You can't do this again, right? And it felt final,
it did.
Right?
It did.
It felt like permanent. Great, way to go, great career, we all wish him well. Well, now he's got time to cool out. I don't know if he's going to have Fox, some interaction with us or not, but whatever, he's got time to chill. And let's say 6 months pass, and all of a sudden, he wakes up one morning and he says, you know what? I'm feeling a lot better now. I've kind of slept it all off. Well, that would be the moment when he would say, I don't have football anymore, right? And of all the people you've known, all the people you played with, all the Hall of Famers you've known, this guy, having played until he was 45, you could argue is going to have the most difficult time of letting go of all of it, of coming down from all of it.
I agree.
And especially, it wasn't the classic decision of, nobody wants me anymore. I'm too beat up. I just can't do it anymore. I'm sorry, I retire. You know, that's the traditional way. That's what happens. With this guy, if he's saying, I'm just exhausted right now. Well, in 6 months, he won't be exhausted. I hope he doesn't wake up one morning and say, God, what did I do? Well, I can still play.
You can, Skip. And to go back what you said about the mental anguish of going through a divorce, because his played out publicly. And now everybody had an opinion what transpired. Was it Tom's fault? Was it her fault? Did he retire because she wanted it to? Did he unretire because of this? So everything starts to play out publicly because you're a public figure. See, if he was a private person, people get divorced every day, and you don't hear a damn thing about it. And that's why I've always tried to keep my relationship, because if I break up, I'm together in private, I break up in private. Whatever issues we may have, we're going to deal with them in private, and y'all not going to have an opinion. I'm not going to be tabloid fodder. I'm not going to be the topic of every radio and TV. Well, what's going on with Tom? And so, Skip, that's hard on an individual. That's why they always ask, well, what, Skip? Please respect our privacy through this most difficult time. Good luck with that one.
Especially here. Okay, so I don't know where his head's going to be if he's going to really have to reach down and fight through this in 6 months, because it's not the typical way that you retire. It felt like because of external circumstances, he was almost forced to say, well, I'm loyal to Tampa because they were loyal to me. So it's Tampa or nothing. I don't want to look like a mercenary going over here or here or here or here. I have no choice right now but to stop. But in 6 months, would he say, I feel pretty great? I look back, you know, he'll look back. I know his mentality enough to know. He'll look back and say, well, I did set the completion record. Again, because you had no running game. You threw it every down, right?
Well, let me ask you this, Skip. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, the season ended for him 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and he takes another 2-3 weeks off. Does he go back into a routine in where he starts throwing and getting?
That's a very good question.
Because if he takes his longer than normal time, he'll be fine. But it's once he gets back into the rigors as if he is coming back. And he's like, well, damn, man, the arm feels good. The leg, the body feels good. I'm refreshed. I'm recharged. How soon does he go back, or if he goes back to pick up what he's done for the last 25, 26 years?
Will he keep his personal trainer with him?
Well,
I think Alex Guerrero. Will they just stay a twosome? Will they hang together? Will they see each other every day for some kind of session?
Well, Jeff Darlington said in the last thing, he said there's more to remaining ageless than velocity of a pass.
Well,
so obviously Alex Guerrero would be on his staff still because of what, concoctions that they make, the juice and the avocado ice cream and the stretching and the pliability. So all that's a part of that helps you defy aging.
Okay. All I know for a fact,
hold it off. You can't defy it, but you can hold it off.
Worked with a whole lot of people who played the games of basketball and football. As great as it is to work here, as great as you have been at your job, as invested as you are, that has become your life. It's not what you have.
It's not, Skip.
It just can't get there.
It's not.
As much as Tom will be great on this network, it won't scratch the deepest itch because you're looking down into the arena instead of in the arena looking up at the press box.
It is, Skip. It's just different. And the things that we would say and what we would do in the locker room is going to get your butt in HR here. So all the jokes he used to play and all the stories he told.
It's a good point.
And that's the thing, Skip.
And what have you always said? The one thing you cannot replace is the camaraderie of the locker room because it's a moment in time and you're with 50-odd people in a locker room and they're from everywhere and all walks of life and faiths and cultures and all this, but you're a unit. You are a brotherhood in the locker room, but you're all heading somewhere else, whether you like it or not, because this game, especially your game, it's finite.
It is.
It's going to get you before you get it.
And Skip, at least they got a celebrity basketball game and you can go coach and stuff like that. Ain't no celebrity football game.
No.
Ain't no celebrity. And the All-Star game.
That's another great point.
Skip, in baseball, they got a celebrity softball game.
Well, you can't go play Big Three, right?
No.
You just can't do it.
No. And Skip, in the locker room, hey, Sharp, they holler across, hey, Sharp, check this out. Or Tom Brady, they might call him Brady, they might call him, hey, 12, check this out. Who am I hollering? Hey, Bayless, check this out, man. What happened last night? Hey, Barney. So it's different.
It's different.
It just is. And unless you've been in that environment, and as long as he's been in it longer than anybody. So it is. I agree with you. It's going to be harder for him to walk away, to let it go because he's developed so many more relationships over the years, players and coaches. I bet you no less than 100 people have Tom Brady's number. No less than 100.
Yeah, okay.
Because he's an open man, everybody. I mean, somebody was like, I was waiting to see if Tom was really like what they say. Is he like what is he publicly like this? Is he like this behind closed doors? They're like, nah, he really that dude. Man, you can call Tom. You don't have to call his secretary to get an appointment to talk to it.
That's a good point. Very good point.
He just one of the guys. And all of a sudden, he goes from being one of the guys to and he's not going to have that kind of trust coming into a situation. That's built up over years, Skip, because you see that guy every single day. There's not for 7-8 months, every day, you saw Devin McCourty, or you saw Hightower, or you saw Gronk, or you saw this one and that one.
Yep. Great point. I don't envy what he's going to have to go through.
Nah, it's more difficult than he really knows.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I don't think he has any idea how difficult it's going to be for him.
Well, this family here will make it a little easier.
We're going to make it easy on you, Tom. Come on over here. You got any question you might have, your boy's an open book.
We can't wait to welcome him in. Indeed, a time of a lot of change for Tom Brady. All right, guys, after this break, let's talk about Patrick Mahomes. And, hey, is he going to see Eric Bieniemy leaving the Chiefs this offseason?
Good question.
And then, Skip, let's talk about